So today we're going to be talking about some classic dumperoos. Now, just so I can apologize, the recording today is going to sound like it used to because my computer isn't really working quite well right now, so I'm back to using my phone for a little bit. But so yeah, I'm using my phone, so you're going to be hearing some wind blowing into the microphone, unfortunately. Now, in some good news, I do have a voicemail set up on this podcast, and we actually got a message from one of our listeners. So we'll go ahead and we'll play that.
Hey, Zedman. I miss you. Your podcasts are absolutely hilarious, and I honestly wish you would upload more often because I just, whenever I'm feeling like kind of sad, I just like listen to your podcasts and your stories of when you were younger, and it just like lifts my mood. I was dying today listening to your new one that you put out. But yeah, I really enjoy them, and you should totally keep posting and definitely just like keep doing whatever you're doing because it's great. Hopefully you'll get a sponsor too. That would be cool. Cheers, pal.
So yeah, Daddy finally have a simp, I guess. So today we're just going to be talking about some incredibly breathtaking dumps, I guess we should call it. Now, I used to be a plumber, as some of you may have recalled from some of my older episodes. So I'm not really going to talk about a whole lot about what I've seen at work, although I might. But these are more of the things that I've seen when I was a kid, and well, not just as a kid, but just personally. So I'm going to talk about the most disgusting one is the one. It's basically the first time I ever saw a urinal. You can probably tell where this is going. So the first time I saw a urinal, I was about 4 years old. It was before I went to actually went to elementary school, because our elementary school did have urinals, so I saw them there. But first time I saw a urinal was at McDonald's in town, and I didn't know what it was. So the first thing I did when I saw a urinal, it was the first time that I recall that I was ever in a public restroom with a stall. So I didn't know there was a toilet in the stall, and I had to poop. So I go into the bathroom. I see some guy using the urinal next to me, with one of those dividers. So I see the guy taking a leak, and I see a stall. I don't know what's in there. So what I decide to do, I'm just going to blow dookie right into the urinal. I pull down my pants. I hop up onto that urinal as quickly as I could. I lay the steamy log down, and then I come to the realization that I gotta clean myself up. And at this point, the guy next to me is still taking a leak. I can tell he doesn't know what to do, so he gets out of there as quickly as he can. And then someone coming in or coming out, they ended up opening up the stall door, and in my mind, I didn't know you could just pull open the stall or push open the stall. I just thought it had to have a doorknob. So what I ended up doing, I ended up crawling under the space to go to the toilet, because that's when I finally realized that there was a toilet in there. It was too late. I already took my dump. So what I did, I got on all fours. Actually, not on all fours. I did more like a military crawl. So I got on the floor, crawled to the toilet with a little snail trail running behind me of the dookie, and ended up cleaning myself up in there. And then by the end of it, you've got a steaming hot pile in the urinal. Someone comes in, they see my little snail trail, and probably see the whole picture when they walk in there. They see me crawling under there. So this is why I'm always nice to McDonald's workers, because I know that they had to put up with this. Now, I may have talked about this other story on the My Sister is a Karen episode, but I'm going to repeat it for this one because it pertains to it. But there was one point in time when me and my mom and my sister, we were in town for something, and it was like 8 o'clock at night. So, of course, it's Yarmouth. Everything closes at 5 o'clock, and we didn't really have a place to go. So my mom's brilliant idea was, okay, I instead of driving an extra block to go to the McDonald's, we're going to pull over and we're going to let my sister take a steaming hot dump at the Beacon Park playground. Now, the Beacon playground, it had, I don't know if it had mulch under the equipment or gravel under the equipment. Either way, same idea. So my sister had to go take a steaming dump. My mom was like, well, geez, I feel like she felt bad about it, but my sister was screaming her head off because she was a little Karen. So she's like, okay, I mean, just go. So she let her out. My sister runs to the playground equipment. She goes under the playground equipment, and then she just squats down and takes a dump on the gravel. And I don't know if she buried it, but she took she took a dump in the gravel like a cat. Now that was those were two impressive dumperoos. Now I'm going to tell you a story about. It wasn't really a story about someone taking a dump, but it's what someone was pretending to take a dump. So I was in the Yarmouth Mall, and they kind of had this bathroom kind of way off to the side. It's kind of alone. You have to go down this little kind of sketchy hallway where there's probably been at least a couple kids diddled in that corner. I'm guaranteed. So I go into this bathroom. I go in there. Seems a little strange because there's this guy in the bathroom, and like he's in the stall. But I go in there, and he like, as soon as I go in there, he like started like sniffing and fidgeting, kind of like he was trying to be extra quiet. I'm like, okay, is he shooting up in there? What's he doing? So I assumed he was either shooting up or like, I don't know, watching something on his phone, even though I don't think smartphones were a thing back then. Maybe watching something nasty on his PlayStation Portable. I don't know. So anyway, what I decided to do, I was like, okay, I'm kind of curious as to what he was doing, and I wasn't going to go peek in on the stall. So what I did, I flushed the toilet, I washed my hands, I pull the door open, and then I let it slam shut without walking out. And as soon as I do that, I hear this. So that might have been the actual worst thing I have ever seen, ever heard in my life. And like I said, there's definitely been at least one kid diddled in that bathroom before. So this might not have been the actual worst thing that's happened there, but yeah, it's the worst thing that's happened to the Yarmouth Mall since next to Chuck's Diner. Now, the reason why I'm doing this episode is because I've come to realize that in almost every single podcast I've done, there's been at least one story about someone taking a dump. Whether it's my sister taking a crap in a margarine container, the one about me being at Weston's, one of the guys taking a dump in the middle of the floor to spite his foreman. So there's a lot of dumps in my podcast. So when someone says my podcast is a piece of crap, well, they're kind of right. So anyway, there's one other story I want. It's going to be a little quickie of a podcast, so it's going to be real. It's going to be so quick that even Derek Cahoon thinks it's quick. So that's how quick it is. So anyway, I had an outhouse at the house I lived in growing up, and so we would use it basically when we ran out of well water. But a lot of times I got lazy and I just went outside taking a dump because honestly, taking a dump in the fresh air is just it's one of life's great pleasures. If because we had a window in the outhouse, the door was hardly ever shut. It was just really fun. And one time I had the flu real bad, and everyone in the house had the flu. So everyone had the scream, and everyone had the Hershey squirts just real bad. And I was downstairs, and the downstairs toilet didn't work very well because my brother is a retard, and he flushed the cap gun down the toilet, and we didn't have a snake to get it out. So the upstairs toilet was too far away. Everyone was, and other people were running into it anyway. So I had the flu. I knew it was coming. So I had to run out to the outhouse, and I tried to pull the outhouse door open as quickly as I could. But because of my retard strength, I pulled it open way too fast, and the door actually fell and hit me on the head. And then I fell over and I crapped my pants instantly. So that's that's one of the joys of being me, I guess. Now, another one of the reasons why I kind of made this episode, I'm not going to tell any stories about in relation to my work because I don't want to get in trouble or anything like that. But basically, I'm a caretaker. But one thing I learned through my job is a bunch of, I guess, a bunch of dump life hacks. So I know how to strategize when it comes to taking dumps. Like I know to no longer trust farts, and I basically know that keeping wet wipes in your car are a godsend. So once you hit the big 30, and you feel like you get a little greasy squeaker coming out, you gotta bring in the wet wipes because it's gonna save you the itchy butthole for the rest of the car ride. So um, take that advice as you will. One story that I gotta tell. Now I'm not gonna tell you who this guy's name is or anything like that, but his name rhymes with Callan. So Callan was an individual who now I might be accidentally combining two different stories, which is actually pretty sad, to be honest, but it's actually hilarious. This dude he worked at a shop, and he ate way too much cheese one day, so he ended up having to take like a massive like strained dump. So what he did is he went to his work and went to the bathroom at work, and he went to one of those like to like a multi toilet bathroom. So like you go into the bathroom, there's a stall, so someone can walk into the bathroom and not notice that you're in there. So he was on the toilet. He didn't have a smartphone back then, so his focus was 100% on this cheesy dump. So it probably took everything out of this poor man's soul to deliver it. So he was sitting there taking his dump. His eyes were probably bloodshot. Taking his little dump, and then someone comes in. They take a leak in the urinal. They walk out, wash their hands, and then they shut the light off. Now, buddy of mine, bless his soul, he didn't. He was probably straining too hard, and he didn't know how to react, and he didn't quite yell out to the person in time uh, to say, "Hey, turn the light back on." So he must have been there for a while, and maybe his legs gave out on him, which, well, probably not, 'cause he had he was a pretty serious deadlifter at one point, so he's a pretty strong fella, but he didn't think of wiping his butt until, like, his thought process was, oh, the lights are turned off. How am I going to wipe myself? I can't get off the toilet and clean myself up and go to the bathroom and leave. So he stayed on the toilet for 45 minutes. And so, yeah, he stayed on the toilet for 45 minutes until someone else came into the bathroom and turned on the light looking for him, because he wasn't on his lunch break or anything like that. So he stayed on the toilet for 45 minutes. I don't, well, I'm not going to say anything else about what happened, because that's not for anyone else to know. But yeah, I always tease him saying, look, buddy, I take care of blind people, or I have taken care of blind people that know how to do it better than you. So turning off the lights wasn't the best excuse. That's just that might have been, yeah. So anyways, if someone ever turns the light off on you in the bathroom, don't be afraid to wipe your butt, because it's not that hard. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this absolutely terrible episode of this terrible podcast. I think at some point we're gonna have to do, I guess, long form podcasts where I actually try to talk about something interesting. Basically, right now, the way I record my podcasts is I either do it on my phone with crappy audio, or I do it on a laptop that that is basically only good for taking notes and emails, and because I'm only working with like 1 gig of storage space, so I have to like edit 5 minutes of the podcast at a time, upload it, delete it, or else I'm going to run out of space. So maybe once I actually get a good setup, I won't say the quality of the actual, like, as far as my speaking will go up, but maybe the production quality is going to start going up a bit soon. So maybe at that point I'll actually be having, I don't know, maybe interesting topics of conversation. So let me know what you guys think. I got I do have the voicemail set up. So if you go to my profile on Anchor FM, you should be able to leave a voicemail. So reach out to me if you want to know how to leave it, and then I'll put your voicemail just like I did my little simp Hannah there. So thanks for listening.